It's pretty much a reflex by now, right? A little box pops up on your screen, you click accept, and you just move on with your day. But have you ever really stopped to wonder what we're all accepting? Well, let's pull back the curtain on that simple click and find out what you're really agreeing to.
I mean, you see this button or something just like it pretty much every time you visit a new website. It's just become part of the background of our online lives. But the real question, the one we're going to dig into, is what actually happens in that split second after you click? What kind of digital handshake did you just make?
Okay, so to really get what's happening now, we've got to rewind a bit, all the way back to the beginning. Because, the original idea behind cookies wasn't some evil plan. It was actually kind of brilliant, and it was designed to solve a really, really annoying problem with the early internet.
Just picture this, a web with total amnesia. Every single time you visited a site, it was like you were a complete stranger. You'd log in, click on another page, and poof, you'd have to log in all over again. Websites just had no memory. So a clever programmer named Lou Montulli invented these things called cookies to, well, give the web a memory. They were made to make your life easier.
And here's the key part, right? The original cookie, what we now call a first-party cookie, was just a simple little text file. A website would save it on your browser, so the next time you came back to that same website, it would remember you. It could keep your shopping cart full or keep you logged in. Super simple, super helpful, and this is important. It all stayed on that one single website.
But you know how these things go. Things changed. They got a lot more complicated. That simple little memory aid morphed into something completely different. Something that could not only remember you on one website, but could actually follow you across the entire internet.
And here it is, the big plot twist, the third-party cookie. See, this one isn't policed by the website you're actually visiting. It's put there by someone else. Yeah, usually an advertiser or a social media company. This little file is the secret sauce that lets totally different websites talk to each other about you. It's why what you do on one site doesn't stay on that site.
Okay, so let me walk you through how this actually works. It's kind of wild. Let's say you go online and start looking for a new pair of shoes. A third-party cookie gets planted on your browser, making a little note of your interest. A bit later, you hop over to a completely unrelated news site to catch up on headlines. Well, an ad network on that news site reads the cookie from the shoe store and bam, an ad for those exact shoes pops up. It's all connected.
Let's bring this into the real world for a second. Imagine you decide you want new shoes. But before you even get out the front door, it's like every single shop owner on the street already knows you're on your way, what size you are, and what your favorite color is. It's a pretty powerful and kind of unsettling thought, isn't it?
So you've got to ask, why? Why all this effort to track our every move online? Well, the answer, as it so often is, comes down to money. Your data has become one of the most valuable things on the planet. You see, this is the basic business model of the free internet. On most websites, you're not really the customer. Your attention, your data, that's the product being sold. The more people a site gets, the more data it can scoop up. And the more data it has, the more cash it can make from advertisers who are desperate to get in front of you. Now, websites aren't just selling your info on a street corner. They use massive middlemen, these huge ad networks that are basically data brokers. And the names behind them are probably pretty familiar. Google, Facebook, Amazon, Microsoft. They're the ones connecting thousands of websites collecting your data with thousands of companies dying to use it.
And we're not talking about some small-time operation here. To give you some perspective, way back in 2017, The Economist magazine ran a report declaring that the world's most valuable resource wasn't oil anymore. Nope, it's data, our data. And you know what happens when something becomes that valuable, right? People will do just about anything to get their hands on it. Which brings us to the dark side of this whole data economy. What happens when the companies we trust with our information can't protect it? 4.5 million. Just let that sink in. That's how many Air India customers had their personal data snatched by hackers in a single data breach back in 2021. All that carefully collected information, just gone in an instant. And if you think that's bad, it gets worse. In 2020, hackers hit the grocery service Big Basket. They stole the data of 20 million customers and then just sold it all on the dark web. 20 million people's private information up for grabs. And look, this stolen data isn't just a bunch of random numbers. It's ammunition for criminals to commit identity fraud, to launch these really clever phishing attacks, and a whole lot worse. Every one of these breaches puts millions of us at risk. Honestly, the chances that your own email has been exposed in a breach like this are pretty high. If you're curious and a little brave, you can even check on a site called haveibeenpawned.com.
But here's the thing. Targeted ads, even data theft, that's not even the final chapter. We've now reached the final, most powerful layer of what all this data collection can do. The power to not just predict what we'll do, but to actually influence and maybe even control it.
This all sounds a bit abstract, right? So let me tell you a quick story about a woman named Judah in Paris. After a breakup, she started using the dating app Tinder. She got curious, so she used Europe's data protection laws to demand that Tinder send her every single piece of information they had on her. Well, after 6 months of back-and-forth emails, a file finally arrived. And what she got back was, well, it was 800 pages long. I'm not kidding. 800 pages. All about her, collected in just a short time on the app. The amount of stuff they knew was just staggering.
I mean, this report knew when she felt lonely. It knew her attraction patterns, her taste in music, the exact times she was most likely to reply to a message. It even knew her political leanings, her deepest, most private insecurities. It was a complete psychological blueprint of a person.
So just stop and think about that for a second. When a company has that kind of intimate picture of your inner world, how easy does it become to nudge you, to show you the perfect ad you just can't resist, to feed you a piece of news that pushes your opinion one way or the other? This isn't just about selling you shoes anymore. This is about shaping how you think, what you buy, maybe even how you vote. It's a whole different ballgame.
So the next time that little accept cookies box pops up, maybe just pause for a second. That simple click, it's the price of admission to the modern internet for sure. But it leaves us with one last really big question to think about. Because when your life is basically an open book, who do you trust to turn the pages?